day two of NFL free agency. It's really the official, I should say unofficial, start to free agency because the new league year begins at 4 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. That would be Wednesday the 12th. So until then, we have plenty to discuss, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Coming up in this afternoon's live stream, glad you guys can be with me. I'm Bobby Trosset. Welcome inside the channel. I am at my remote location here in Orlando, Florida, for my annual working vacation with the family, where I bounce around from cousin to cousin and hang around, spend some time with family, and obviously follow the free agency news to the best of my ability as well. And, of course, taking an early look at the draft and so on and so forth. But a couple things that I wanted to discuss. One, Lamar Jackson posted a message to social media amid this slow start to Ravens free agency. So we'll comb through that. And the Ravens just extended one of their homegrown players who will be back for at least another year in Baltimore. We'll get into all that and more coming up. Glad you guys can be here. This episode is brought to you by Primary Residential Mortgage. Please like the video on your way in. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of when I'm dropping my content here inside the channel. So, ML Football, one of the aggregator accounts, tweeted a video of Lamar taste testing some pizza. And as you see here, trending, Ravens QB Lamar Jackson is test tasting pizza while the rest of the world is stressing out about free agency. All right. The thing blows up. Everybody's having a good old time with it. We even shared it in our quick hits section on the vault earlier today. But Lamar's like, hold up now. This was last year, bro. LOL. I'm waiting like everyone else. So Lamar says he's sitting back, waiting for the Ravens to make some splash moves. That's not what he's actually saying. He's just waiting. He's waiting like everyone else. Well, he may have to keep waiting because the Ravens do not have a ton of cap space, and they do not typically, all right, historically, they aren't big spenders in free agency. And if they are, it's typically something that's on the defensive side of the ball. Of course, Odell Beckham Jr. was definitely an outlier for obvious reasons several years ago when they threw him 15 M's. But when you hit in the draft as consistently as the Ravens do, I know they haven't done it consistently enough at wide receiver, but when you build your team through the draft, when you reward your own, there's not a lot that needs to get done at the front half of free agency. You can be really productive on the back half, and they have in recent years. Gosh, think about bringing in Kyle Van Noy when they did. That was literally in season. He's proven to be a productive player at the tail end of his career as a pass rusher. But I think as of 8:30 this morning, I think this is such a great reminder of team building and organizational philosophies. 8:30 this morning, the Eagles and the Ravens were the only two remaining teams that had yet to sign an external free agent. Howie Roseman and Eric DeCosta are cut from the same cloth. And in recent years, when you look at the way these organizations have flourished, granted, Philadelphia's got 2 championships more than the Ravens do in the last 7 or 8 years. You obviously got to go back to 2012, 2013 to find Baltimore's last chip. But you talk about continuity, you talk about organizational consistency, right? The ability to build through the draft, and aggressiveness via trade when the opportunity presents itself. That is kind of what these two front offices, that's the makeup of Howie Roseman and Eric DeCosta's front offices. And so with that comes somewhat of an underwhelming time here in mid-March when you see other teams, New England, Washington, Minnesota, making these flurry of moves. They're backing up the Brinks truck. They're paying players. They're trading for players. But a lot of that has to do with where they've been and where they hope to go. Now, obviously, the Ravens have been a consistent staple for years now in the Lamar era and prior to the Lamar era as well, as Tilly makes her cameo in my live stream. Tilly, we're mid-live stream. So the point is, Lamar's going to continue to wait. And I'm not saying this tweet is essentially suggesting that something's coming or that he is waiting in distress. I think he's just having a little bit of fun on social media. Now, what just took place prior to coming on the show, speaking of homegrown players, homegrown Ravens, Pat Ricard ain't going anywhere. Former undrafted rookie out of Maine was re-signed to Baltimore. It's a 1-year, fully guaranteed deal. That's according to Diana Rossini of The Athletic. And then Jeff Zaribek, also of The Athletic, chiming in just a couple minutes before we went live, saying that Ricard was signed to the same type of 5-year qualifying offer deal that Malik Harrison signed last year. It's going to be modest. It'll be in the $2.9 million range. And Pat will have a cap hit of just under $1.44 million. So again, this is somebody that you talk about a staple to the run game, a staple to the organization. He's got a ring of honor written all over him. And Eric DeCosta at the end of season press conference all but said that. This guy is highly valuable to what they do schematically. Here's EDC back in January.
No, we haven't had those discussions yet. His agent's a good friend of mine, and I think Pat knows how we feel about him, and I would love for him to retire as a Raven too. I mean, he epitomizes everything that we're all about, and he's another undrafted guy who just became, in my opinion, the best at his position. So we'll have those discussions. This is not the first time that he's been a free agent, and so I think he's signed at least 2 deals with us after his rookie deal. So this is probably his 4th contract now with us if we can get him signed. And I would say that would be the goal.
Again, that was back in January. And how about the King, his running mate, Derrick Henry, chiming in on, this was in season, what it means to be running behind number 42.
Something I look forward to. So anytime 42 is in front of me, I'm comfortable. So I'm good. Gotta make something happen.
Well, they're going to be able to continue to make things happen. Again, Pat Ricard remains a Baltimore Raven. It's a modest deal. He'll be in a Ravens uniform for at least the next year. $2.9 million range, a cap hit of just under $1.44 million. So if you've been keeping track, Ronnie Stanley, because of the void years and the hometown discount perhaps that he took, will be playing for a cap hit just north of $5 million in 2025, and for Ricard, just north of $1 million. And I'm telling you, the value that these two will bring to Baltimore's offense moving forward in different capacities. For Pat, it's the physicality, it's the run game windows, right? It's just his sheer presence alone, the blocking, so on and so forth. For Ronnie, the blindside protection of Lamar Jackson, right? Also highly, highly reliable in the run game as well. So these are 2 massive moves. And even though void years have been added into Ronnie's deal, and we'll get to that in just a bit, Ravens are going to have kicking the can down the road as they did with Odell Beckham. They did so with Nelson Aguilar as well, just in different capacities. Again, this kind of speaks to, sure, it's underwhelming. Many of you might feel like this is an underwhelming week. But I think when you play the long game and when you stick to your organizational philosophies, people that partake and teams that partake in free agency typically aren't doing a lot in January. And I know you're out there thinking, well, the Ravens haven't done a lot in January throughout the Lamar era, but they're always playing in January. And at some point, you get the sense that they will have a chance to get over the hump. Look at the tight end room moving forward. Jonas Schaefer noting that with Ricard's extension, the Ravens' entire tight end / fullback room is going to enter 2025 facing a contract year. Likely Mark's final year in Baltimore. I'd have to think that an extension is a big priority when it comes to Isaiah Likely. Who knows what their future and what Charlie Kohler's future is in Baltimore. And we'll see about Pat. But for right now, this is your room. All 4 of them are currently under contract for the 2025 season. And it's just a matter of, well, what the hell does 2026 look like? I don't know the answer to that. pretty safe to say that it's not going to look the way that it does right now on the screen. But for right now, they're going to run this thing back. It's the deepest tight end room by far, National Football League wide. And with a couple fullbacks that were on the market, right? Kyle Juszczyk, set to be released by San Francisco as well. There are teams out there that still value that position. Baltimore is one of them, deservedly so. What Pat does for the run game, what Pat does for Derrick Henry, by the way, nothing short of significant. Matter of fact, Jonas Schaefer had some notes here from True Media. 247-pound Derrick Henry and 300-pound Pat Ricard have shared the field on only 329 offensive plays this season. This was at the time of this. This was from January. That's less than a third of the Ravens' total workload of over 1,000 plays, again, at the time of this piece. Defenses know what their presence suggests. All but 23 of those Henry Ricard plays have been a run, call, or a play-action pass. Opponents just can't stop it. With Ricard on the field, Henry rushed for nearly as many yards, over 1,300 to be exact, and first downs, 68, as the Las Vegas Raiders did as a team throughout the entire 2024 regular season. Henry rushed for more touchdowns, 15, than 14 total teams. And he rushed for more yards per carry, 6.2, than every team. Only 2 rushing attacks outside Baltimore came within even a yard of Henry's season-long average on Ricard-aided carries. Okay? So again, just speaking based on the True Media statistics here, Pat Ricard's presence is massive for the Ravens, but it's also massive for Derrick Henry. The King has never been able to play with a 300-plus pound fullback, and we saw what that looked like. Defenses know what's coming most of the time. They just don't know how the frick to stop what's coming their way. And you can sign yourselves up for another year of that in Baltimore. Look out. Smash mouth football at its finest. How satisfying is it to watch Big 42 open up windows, lanes, and holes for his running backs, for his quarterback, for his playmakers? How satisfying is it to watch 22 run behind 42? Again, 247, 300 plus. Look out. And when you add in the tight ends, when you add in Big Alele, 6'6", 300 plus pounds at guard, when you add in Big Roger on the right-hand side, Linderbaum getting after it in the middle, we'll see if Voorhees is your shoe-in starting left guard, and Ronnie towering on the left-hand side. This is a tough unit. It's a tough unit. And you know what they want to do. They want to beat you up. They want to punch you in the mouth and run you out of stadiums. And that's exactly what they've been able to do. Despite, as we all know, not consistently doing so yet in the month of January. Glad you guys can be with me today, day 2 of the unofficial start of free agency. And this episode is brought to you by my friends at Primary Residential Mortgage. And they want to know, are you looking for ways to make your home buying process even more affordable and convenient? If that's the case, look no further. PRMI is excited to share an exclusive offer that can help you achieve your dream of owning a home. So here's the deal. They are giving away $100 gift certificates toward closing costs for qualified applicants. This means you can save on one of the essential steps in the home buying process, which of course makes it easier to achieve your home ownership goals. In order to redeem that $100 gift certificate, scan the QR code that you see on the screen right now, or click on the link that I have included in a couple different places. 1, it's a pinned comment in the live chat. 2, it's at the top of the show notes. The certificate itself is valid for 90 days from the date of receipt. The offer ends May 1st of 2025, so you got some time. Do not miss out on the opportunity, and please take advantage of this limited time offer to save on your home buying journey. man, when you support my brand sponsors, you're supporting me. And maybe in this case, you're supporting yourself if you want to get your home buying process started. So please consider doing so. All that information can be found in the show notes and as a pinned comment right now in the live chat. PRMI is an equal housing lender, NMLS 3094. Let's continue the conversation and take a look back at what the Ravens have done so far at the start of free agency. Of course, Ronnie Stanley, we'll get to him in just a bit because the contractual figures, the numbers, the specifics of his deal have been released. It's 3 years, $60 million. More on that in just a second. Now, the following players have departed. Patrick McCary, this was yesterday, of course, Jacksonville, giving him 3 years for 39. Brandon Stevens to the Jets, 3 years for 36. Malik Harrison joins Patrick Queen in Pittsburgh, 2 years, 10. Chris Board goes to the Giants, 2 years for 6. And Josh Jones on a modest deal to the Seattle, 1 year for 4.75 mil. So again, no real surprises, right? This is something that essentially teams are overpaying for. The Ravens weren't going to give McCary what you see on the screen, especially after paying Ronnie Stanley. The writing was on the wall for McCary, former undrafted rookie, incredibly versatile. Look, there's no negative connotations about this. The dude's a jack of all trades, master of none. He started at least a game at every single position up and down the offensive line throughout his years in Baltimore. Did receive an extension, was incredibly reliable, was a great locker room dude. I wish him the best in Jacksonville. Brandon Stevens, of course, really struggled in coverage last year. No other defensive back, aside from one other player league-wide, allowed more yards in coverage. He's going to get a change of scenery. And you want to know who loves this change of scenery, or at least is feeling confident about this change of scenery? Is his new teammate, his new running mate, Jets corner Sauce Gardner. How about this tweet from Sauce? This will tell you everything you need to know about this dude. Sauce quote tweets Jets media here, my buddy Richie. And he's asking his audience what are their thoughts on the move by bringing in Brandon Stevens. And Sauce says, every corner across from me going ball regardless. Proven fact since college. So, yes, it's a good move. We gonna make each other better. How about that? Sauce. No shortage of confidence there whatsoever. These two will now be cornerbacks together in Aaron Glenn's secondary for the new look New York Jets. Best wishes to him. The reality is McCary and Stevens were not being paid in Baltimore, and now the Ravens are in line for 5th round projected compensatory picks for 2026. So that's how it goes. When you develop, when you draft well, when you cultivate a culture that finds diamonds in the rough through the undrafted free agent world, and guys hang around and get deals elsewhere, lucrative deals, I might add, for their position and for their performance, then you're going to be in line to cash in given that compensatory pick formula. So McCary and Stevens heading elsewhere. Malik Harrison, solid Raven. I do believe that. Malik was a solid Raven. Guy logged a ton of special team snaps. He played outside. He played inside. Great against the run. Struggled last year in pass coverage, underneath stuff. But Malik found a home. He's going to Pittsburgh, 2 years for 10. And now you kind of look forward for the Ravens and you're like, all right, how are they rebuilding their linebacker room? And obviously you don't need to rebuild it when it's headlined by an all-pro and Roquan Smith. But you do need to bring in competition. There's no question for Trenton Simpson. Now, they overhauled their defensive staff and fired or parted ways with Mark DeLeon, who handled linebacker duties as an assistant last year. And then they went and found the highly regarded college assistant in Tyler Santucci to take his place. But the reality is year 3 is here for Trenton Simpson, and they need him to develop. They need him to take a big step forward as Roquan Smith's running mate. And they're probably going to need him on special teams as well, because you're not only losing Malik Harrison, who was the second most used teamer last year, but you're losing your special teams ace in Chris Board, who logged the most special team snaps. He was the special teams captain. So Malik and Chris both en route out. Josh Jones as well. And I think this is a sign that the Ravens are looking to go younger. They're going to lean on guys like Sanusi Kane, the second-year player, soon-to-be second-year player, former seventh-round pick out of Purdue. All right, you're going to be leaning on some youth. They are shifting towards a youthful movement. They will retool through the latter half of free agency, and of course, they will continue to build this team out through the draft. But this is how it goes. Damn, Tiger Woods just ruptured his Achilles. Oh, man, you got to be kidding me. Tiger Woods just tweeted out, as I began to ramp up my own training and practice at home, I felt a sharp pain in my left Achilles, which was deemed to be ruptured. Oh, just went through an Achilles tendon repair for a ruptured tendon. Cannot imagine you'll be seeing him in Augusta, which is an absolute bummer. And the days and the idea of him passing Jack, as the days continue, seem like it's getting more and more far-fetched for Tiger, whose body is just breaking down on him. Sorry, I saw that over there. I know it's not football, but I love golf, and that breaks my heart. Frick. Oh, he's running out of time, man. He really is running out of time. If time was on his side, had he stayed healthy, good Lord. How many majors would this guy have had? Back to football. Appreciate you guys for being here. If you'd like to join the show, I'm going to talk through Ronnie's contract right now. But afterwards, if you want to pop on and say hello via the guest line, the link has just been dropped into the live chat. Would love for you guys to hang. So Ronnie Stanley and his deal includes 3 void years from 2028 to 2030. This is uncharacteristic of the Ravens. Now, I say that it is uncharacteristic, but they're doing it. They've been doing it in recent years. Here are the void years. Again, 28 through 2030, as Brian McFarland noted on X. Okay. How about the cap hit, though, for here and now when they're in like win or go home mode or Super Bowl or bust mode? It's over a $5 million cap hit for Ronnie Stanley for their franchise left tackle in 2025. Now, McFarland goes on to say, still awaiting for word on Ardarius Washington's restricted free agent tender and the 2024 adjustments carryover. Both are estimated below. But again, right now in this window, while the Ravens will have to handle business on that in the coming years, when you look at what's going on in the tackle market and what Roddy would have gotten had he hit the open market, a $5 and change $1 million cap hit for 79 is an absolute win. So that was that. Solid deal for the Ravens. But it also tells you that, yeah, they're going to have to answer for those numbers in the coming years. And it shows you how tight things are right now. But the biggest priority, and I think that's what really matters right now, their biggest offseason priority was to ensure that the left-hand side of the line was taken care of, and that's exactly what they did. And now your bookend tackles for the next 3 years, set. Roger, who had a fantastic rookie season, will continue to build off of that on the right-hand side. And of course, we know Ronnie will be handling down business on the left-hand side and hoping to remain healthy as well. And then in between, Linderbaum's going to be there. He's extension eligible. I'm sure that'll be on the Ravens' priority list. They're going to continue to ride with Fa'alele. I know the assistant coach that just popped up into the interim coach that just popped up into the waiting room is thinking, no way, we ain't going with Fa'alele. That ain't happening. The Ravens are going to, though. And it sure looks like they're going to stick with Voorhees as well. Coach Chris is in the building. Let's go to the guest lines. Coach Chris, then Manny. Appreciate you guys for being with me today. Over 800 of you concurrently watching on this unofficial start to free agency day 2. Like the video on your way in. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified of when I'm dropping my content. Coach, what's going on, man? You getting you post workout?
Yeah, man. Just finished lunch, bro.
There you go.
Thanks for
Appreciate
having
the
me.
call.
Appreciate
Absolutely.
you,
What you got going on?
man. I just, we're sitting this out, man. Like, we re-signed Ronnie Stanley. So, like, we don't need to be playing around in free agency. And honestly, I'm more so thinking about the draft and who they can add that can actually add something to the team. Because, I think we got the best team in football. So I mean, like, they just didn't play well against the Bills and they made mistakes and we don't get turnovers in the playoffs. So, we got some guys that are getting paid a lot of money that aren't making plays and winning time. And it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you got to overthink things, man. Like, they started out 0-2 and won their division. Every loss we had, except for the Chiefs game, pretty much handed it to the other team. So I don't know how you coach up clutchness. I don't know how you add that. I don't know how you add catching the ball in the fourth quarter and not fumbling the ball. And I mean, we haven't had a playoff turnover since before COVID-19, bro. Like, I don't care if Lamar Jackson goes no turnovers ever in the playoffs. We're not going to win anything if we don't take the ball from the other team. So, there's some pieces out there to be added, but Cooper Kupp, all right. What does that really do? Like, you got to make plays. You know what I'm saying? And like, they were there to be made.
They had everything they need. They had everything they needed, and they still have everything they need. That's the reality of this, and that's why I think, well, not to cut you off, but that's why when I see people within the fan base complaining, taking shots at EDC, right, doing this, that, and the other, I think Sarah put it well earlier today. That's FOMO. That's not living in reality of where you are team building right now, what the priorities should be for the Ravens.
Exactly.
That's just complaining to complain because you just want big money to be thrown around. Well, guess what? That's not going to happen. Okay. They're going to address the wide receiver position as we all expect them to, the same way they have. They're going to bargain shop. It's going to be the veteran free agent market. Okay. Maybe they take a swing on day 2, probably day 3 at that position. And then we know what the other priorities are. It's going to be edge rusher. It's going to be finding a Brandon Stevens replacement. It's going to be bringing in another safety. It's going to be bringing in a young linebacker to push Trenton Simpson, right? These are the things, the small things that they need to do. But the reality is everybody should be excited that free agency doesn't need to be this like big reach or this this desperate time, right? You've seen the desperate teams out there, the New England's, the Washington. I hate to call Washington desperate because I think they're actually doing really good business, but they're spending a lot, right? Minnesota's spending a lot. New England's spending a lot. These are teams that have not been as relevant as Lamar and the Ravens have for 5+ years now since he took over. So that to me is a very realistic way of looking at it. I didn't mean to cut you off there, though.
No, you're good. I mean, like, my thing is, like, you can't look. I would much rather be in the playoff mix and at the end of the draft every year than be spending and winning the free agent. Because, like, these free agents, like, half of these guys are not going to pan out. They never, like, half of these guys don't pan out. They don't see the end of these contracts. Nobody really sees the end of an NFL contract these days anyway. So, I mean, I'm thinking about guys like Savion Jackson. I can't remember his last name. I know his first name Savion. Like, we need like some guys that can make some plays. I don't think there's any way we can come out of this draft and not get a tailback. You know what I'm saying? We can get a tight end. I don't know if we need to go interior offensive line early. Harbaugh likes Falele, and that's his guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's an NFL football player. I'm not going to say he's trash or anything like that. I'm going to just say maybe he should continue to lose weight. Like, I think he's closer to 400 pounds than what they list him at. And he needs to lose some weight. He's too slow and he's stiff. He needs like yoga and Pilates. And obviously the left guard position has been a weakness for the past 2 seasons. You can't run the football against good defensive lines when your left guard you can't run at him. Like, he can't dominate and win a matchup, and then he can't cut off anybody either. So it's just we need to add a couple pieces here and there to actually beat the better teams in the NFL when it counts. And one thing would be great was if we could get a turnover. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like this defense these days is really kind of living off of the past, and I'm kind of tired of it because these guys like Marlon and Roquan, like, yeah, they're good players and all that, but we know real defense in Baltimore, bro. Like, don't fake the funk on a nasty dunk, bro. Like, don't come out here talk like always talking, and Marlon's always, oh, he's got his list of who he needs. Here's my list, bro. Get a freaking interception in the playoff game. How about that? You know what I'm saying? How about Roquan forces a fumble in a playoff game and we get a strip sack? Like I'm sick of people doing all this yip yapping and not making no goddamn plays. Like, seriously, Josh Allen threw one pass downfield and beat Brandon Stevens up the. Like, I'm so glad that they didn't. Like, it's like they could find someone on the practice squad to replace Brandon Stevens, bro. I think Wiggins is going to be the best corner on this team next season anyway. So it's like, I don't know why. It's like you want to sign all these players, then you want to make it to the play. It's like, what do you want to complain about? Like I'm glad that we're not out here spending money. This free agent class isn't even that good. So it's just the timing of it. Like there just happened to be a big jump in the salary cap, and teams have to spend money and they got to sign players. But I mean, Brandon Stevens getting $30 million a year. Like, he spent the entire season getting torched last year. Like,
he needs a change of scenery, though. He's going to be playing across from Sauce. He's going to benefit greatly from the change of scenery. You watch.
I guess because he'll get double. He'll have help the whole game because Sauce will be 1-on-1. So is it? I mean, you're paying him to what? You're paying him to play the flat the whole game. Like, I mean, like, you're paying him to play cloud the whole game. Like,
he'll still be outside. Here's the thing about Brandon. You go back to his 2023 tape, Chris, that he put a lot of great tape out there. 2023, right? This bat. Here's the thing, though. I know you can't get past 2024.
That ain't how football works. Football is what you just did. That's how the football. Like, that's how the game works. It's what you just now. I mean, if there's not a lot of corners and teams throw the ball all over the field, you got to get a cornerback. I mean, there's not a lot of guys available, so somebody got to get God, I guess. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But he spent the entire season getting torched. And I mean, the one big play we gave up in the playoff game, he gave it up. It's like, whatever. I'm just saying this, BB. Bro, I am glad we're not spending all this money. We need to figure out this draft. We're going to trade up for somebody, maybe, Pierce,
Don't hold your breath on that.
Trade up, man. He falls to the teens. Maybe. I don't know. We need somebody that's going to make a difference. Because honestly, I mean, we got the best quarterback in the game. We got top 2 running back in the game. We got, I think likely the top 5 tight end given the opportunity. I think between Zay and Bateman, that's a top 8 to 10 wide receiver duo with Stanley Rosengarten and the big man in the middle. I think if we could get that line solidified, we got a top offensive line. I mean, on paper, we got a great defense until it actually matters. So I'm thinking we need playmakers, bro. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's all I'm saying. Like, you can do all the talking you want to do when you make freaking plays. Like, when you're making plays and getting strict, like, you got to do it when it counts, man, and winning time. Like, I don't care about interceptions versus the Browns, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't care about, fumbles versus the Jaguars, man. Like, playoff game in Buffalo, get the ball. You know what I mean? Make a play. Like, I think Lamar showed everybody he's got the goods. He's going to come good. That's all I'm saying. That's it. Like, I'm glad we're not in this free agency mix because honestly, I think Ronnie Stanley was one of the top 4 or 5 of them anyway, and we kept him. So
he might have been the first. He might have been the top free agent.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he's a top flight left tackle, and we kept him on our team, man. Like, we're ready to play a game tomorrow. Most teams can't even say that.
Yep. And I'll tell you what, too.
Next week.
I'll tell you this, too. Miss me with everybody that's trying to rewind on him with his health. Okay? He has built himself back up. He is a Pro Bowl caliber left tackle again. And for the next 3 years, he is back. Lamar Jackson's blindside protector is there for at least the next 3 years. That gives Rosengarten more ample time that he needs to develop, and he'll be the future. I don't see Ronnie getting another contract in Baltimore. And when that time comes 3 years from now, guess who's going to be ready? Rosengarten's going to be ready, and the Ravens will be ready too because they'll have a bullpen ready to go to replace Rosengarten on the right-hand side. So I like the way this is setting up for the foreseeable future.
you just never know how it's going to work out. You just this year coming up, and I'm thinking, we could get I would love a sneaky, I would love a sneaky, explosive tailback. I would love somebody that could maybe come in and play wide out running back, wildcat quarterback. We just need a wrinkle. We need a change up. We can't run Lamar a lot. This is getting older more and more. As more years go on in his career, he's going to have to carry the ball less, to stay healthy. I'm just thinking, where are we going to actually find a difference maker? Because honestly speaking, we're not picking high enough in the draft to draft someone number one is going to come in and just take someone's job. We're a good football team. You know what I mean? Honestly, it's a 15 win team right now today. So I think everybody should just calm down, be happy that you're a fan of a really good and well-run organization and that you don't have to, because honestly, you're probably better off extending your own people than letting them get to the last year of their contract and then free agency like Cincinnati. Then you got to tag them. Now everybody's up at the same time. Now they got to pay Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. They got to trade Trey Henderson. That's Trey Henderson leaving almost takes them out of contention in the conference, in their division now.
If he leaves. If he leaves.
Huge loss for them. He's the NFL leader in sacks.
If he leaves, they granted him permission, obviously, to seek a trade. We'll see what happens there. But hey, let me get you out of here on this, Chris. Let me get you out of here on this. Curious, and I'm gonna put you on the spot here, and we're gonna keep the guest lines moving. I give you 3 veteran wide receivers, 2 of which are on the open market, 1 of which in the middle is soon to be, and that is Cooper Kupp, who's expected to be released tomorrow. Obviously, on the right-hand side, you got D-Hop. On the far left, you've got Amari Cooper. Who's the one player that intrigues you the most at this point in his career?
Give me Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp.
Give me Cooper Kupp. Yeah, give me Cooper Kupp, bro.
Appreciate you, man. I'll catch up with you soon.
My man.
Great call, dude. Have a great workout.
Appreciate you.
Later. I ask you, Mr. Mexico, these 3 on the screen. Great call from Chris. Let's see if you can back it up. Who is the one player that intrigues you? I need you to put multiple things into consideration here. I need fit. I need scheme. I need age. I need money, cap, so on and so forth. Who is it?
Who's just a refresher? Because who's the left one?
Far left is Amari Cooper. He spent last year in Buffalo. They brought him in at the deadline. You already know where mine is. I don't know if you were watching the vault, but
I know. But it's just
earlier this afternoon.
Here's the thing. Who we needed, emphasis on needed. 3 years ago or in 2020 onwards was D-Hop. Because we needed, here's my reasoning. We needed a wide receiver. We needed speed, and we needed a guy that jumped that high to actually help Lamar, develop those high jump passes that now likely is doing, but he's a tight end. So even though he's been helping, he still has that tight end speed, not that wide receiver speed that we need. So on that department, you would say, well, give me D-Hop. Yes, he fits Harb's bill, but what we need right now is more so Amari Cooper. Why is that? Cooper Kupp, yes, he's great. He would fit 2 things. One is what you always hate, injuries. He has not been able to stay healthy. And the second one that I would put on his resume is not a shot on him. Genetics is what happens, but height.
He's a slot receiver. Yeah, he's a slot receiver.
Yeah, so we need someone on the outside perimeter. We need when people say we need an Anquan Bolding or a Torrey Smith, well, Cooper Kupp doesn't fill the bill. We needed someone tall, fast, and that he could jump, 8 feet, almost a head above LeBron James. So that's who we need. I understand that Cooper Kupp plays more Raven football than Amari. but I would chase Cooper just to actually get somebody on the wide out perimeter to give Lamar a chance on those passes.
Here's the
Because
deal: if Darius Slayton's getting 3 for 36 to remain a Giant, Cooper's going to be on another planet in terms of revenue.
yeah,
In terms of contractual annual value. So I don't even look. We did the exercise earlier today for the purpose of the conversation. I wasn't even willing to entertain Cup. I am willing to entertain the guys on the right and left of him,
yeah,
and that's because I think they're just north of the veteran minimums. I don't think they're at the veteran minimums, but I think that these guys are getting closer and closer to that. And that's where the Ravens, that's where they live, right at this
yep,
position. They've taken their shots. They've got their 2 former first rounders that are 1A and 1B. And from here on out, you got to find your Nelson Aguilar replacement, which I say that as if that's a big production replacement task. It's not.
no,
It's not. Tylen, your boy Tylen could have a chance to do that if he were to get more opportunities. I think he'll sign a modest extension in Baltimore. That's my prediction. He'll
yeah,
continue to be a special teams guy for them, and when he is called upon, right, his number he always answers when his
yeah,
number's called. So, let me do this. I know I put you on the spot there, so please briefly, because I gotta jump here.
yeah.
The reason why you called in, what was your thought? Just in general on day 2, did you have something that you specifically wanted to talk about?
More so is the Ravens are not going to get a signing neither this week. I would be surprised if they actually do a signing next week,
Yeah.
considering that many of the pieces in free agency right now is just how to put it. It's a mess. It's a mess in a sense of way that um, you don't know what's going to happen. Like this player signs with a team that you didn't expect him to actually sign up with. For example, well, not an example, but Aaron Rodgers is going to be sought out way after free agency because there's only 2 quarterbacks. Well, actually, there's only one quarterback that all the quarterback team needies are gonna go for, and that's not Shador Sanders because
Well, here's
Dion
the
already
crazy part,
has.
though.
Huh?
The crazy part is think about how many dominoes have already fallen at the quarterback position.
Yeah,
Like Rodgers is basically down to the Giants or the Steelers.
yeah, and neither of those are gonna get Shador
No,
because
no.
Dion already said it that even if there was I think he said there's 2 teams that I remember he said that it was the Ravens and the Cowboys. But I think because of the situation right now with the Cowboys, with Dak Prescott and all of the Jerry Jones drama that they have right now on and off the field, I don't think he's going to be even considered to be drafted over there. Or if he's drafted, Dion is not going to let his son go over there because of it. And obviously the Ravens, we have Lamar. So I think Shador sits out this season just because of the teams that are in the look at the first 10 teams. They're not worthy of Shadur's talent. And with all due respect, but they're not worth Shadur's talent just because of the dramas they're dealing with individually, with the head coach, with the general manager, and the pieces they don't have.
You're that high on Shador.
It's not that I'm that high. It's also look at it at a parent's perspective. Would you let your kid go to a disastrous team?
Look, if Shador thinks, as he said, basically, during his podium availability, that he turned around 2 college programs, then guess what? He should feel like he should do that for an NFL team. That's essentially what he said.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm giving him that much credit. Look, there's of course, as a parent, you want what's best for your kid, but the guy's going to be a top 10 draft pick. He's going somewhere. He's not going to Cleveland. I think they're going to take Cam Ward.
Yeah.
And
Next.
then it's going to be really interesting in division wise. It's going to be really interesting to see what the hell they do. They just brought in Kenny Pickett. They're probably going to draft Cam Ward. Are you bringing in another bridge? Is there going to be a 3 quarterback competition type of room taking place this summer in Cleveland? It's going to be freaking hilarious.
Hey, the Browns are browning. As long as the Browns are browning, we okay.
Unreal. And maybe he does end up in Vegas, Adam, right? Maybe he does end up in Vegas. Tom Brady's tutelage, right? You've got Pete Carroll there. He can learn underneath Geno. Maybe that's where Shador ends up. I could totally see that.
Yeah. I would be more interested in seeing next year's draft, because next year's draft, guess who's up in availability?
Who?
Manning.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Archie. Yeah.
Archie Manning is going to be available, and that's going to be interesting to see where he falls.
It's going to be fascinating for sure. There'll be a lot more quarterbacks next year than there will be this year. I know that. So.
Oh yeah, and with better talent and better reads. I mean, give credit to who? Our quarterback. Because after 2019, guess what type of quarterbacks are they been drafting?
Where?
In the NFL,
Oh, across the NFL. Yeah, they're trying to find the next Lamar.
Yeah. It doesn't matter skin, but hey, if you can move, if you can run, if you can, scramble here and there. Why? Because Lamar took the league by storm.
Everybody's trying to find the next Lamar. Good luck, brother. Great to see you, man. Catch up with you soon.
Great seeing you.
Yep, absolutely. One more guest call today. Appreciate you guys for being with me. We've got almost 1,000 concurrents in here between Twitter and YouTube. For those of you in the Twitter space, would love for you to pop on over to YouTube and join me. Santana, let's get you in here. I believe you're a first-time caller, but appreciate you guys for being here. Please like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. Special thanks to Primary Residential Mortgage for sponsoring this episode. And let's see what you got to say. Santana's in the house. Good to see you, man. Baltimore's finest. I hear it's a nice 60-degree day up there today.
It's beautiful today. Beautiful.
Yeah.
A lot of working from home, working outdoors. So really great day.
What part of town?
Yeah. Right now I'm actually in Westminster over my cousin's house.
Nice.
Working over his house, working from home, working remotely. So
good for you. Good for you. As you can tell by my backdrop, I'm doing a little remote month of March. So down in Florida.
Nice. What part of Florida?
Yeah. Orlando right now. Last week was St. Pete. Did Stewart this past weekend with some family. I'm just kind of bopping around from family to family. It's awesome. I love doing this in March. This is my 10th year doing like a chunk trip for at least part of March down here. So
and it's beautiful. You get to go spend time with family while you're doing it. It's not like you have to get a whole bunch of hotels, Airbnbs.
Oh, yeah.
You have family down there.
You know where that money that I would be spending there, instead we'll spend that on a few first dates. That's the plan.
Nice.
What you got for me?
Man, what do you want to get into? The wide receivers? Like, what do you want to talk about? It's so much going on.
Well, how about this then? Why don't I do this? I'll put you on the spot just the way that I have the first 2 callers that came before you.
Definitely.
All right, if I were to present to you these 3 veteran wide receivers who are all going to be available, 2 already are right now on the open market.
Right.
Cooper Kupp is set to be in the next day or so.
Right.
DeAndre Hopkins, Cooper Kupp, Amari Cooper. Now, again, we're doing I know, but here's why I want to challenge you though. Okay. We got to put on our Ravens hats here.
Right. I know where you're going.
You know exactly where I'm going, because you know the market that they're going to be chiming in on. And to me, while Cooper would be a great fit in Baltimore, obviously, I don't think it's the realistic fit. I think the guy on the right and the guy on the left of him are more within the ballpark of what the Ravens can financially do right now and how they want to build out and round out this room. So, with that in mind, does that change your answer when you put on your GM hat?
Yeah, definitely. I like Cooper Kupp personally. I feel like he has a little bit more left in the tank as far as on play than the other 2. But I mean, I take D-Hop. I feel like D-Hop still has some game left. He's shown last year, honestly, he can still make big plays, still has a big catch radius, and still a great route runner, still at this age. So, I mean, we're speaking money, obviously. I'm going to go with D Hop, but Coop's gonna be my pick. I feel like he's the great route runner, the consummate professional. He works every day. Outside of the injuries that he had previous years, I think he is definitely a better fit. But money, yeah, I'm definitely gonna go D Hop. And you can't really be mad at that anyway, because
No.
honestly, I like who we have. I love Zay and I love Bait. I feel like people sleep on Bait. Great route runner, separations there. We've seen all the stats. It's just a matter of him getting those attempts and those passes.
Here's the thing about Adam's comment in the live chat that I'm just seeing here. He's chiming in. He says, none of these three, they're washed. Get the talent in the draft. Look, Adam, here's the thing, though.
This draft isn't, yeah,
One, it's not a wide receiver friendly
yeah,
draft.
at all.
Okay. So just keep that in mind. And I know Adam's probably like, oh no, I'm not saying go get a one. Like there's not a lot, of course, there's not a lot of ones in the
I,
draft.
I like a couple guys in the draft though.
Oh, I'm sure the Ravens do too, and they're
Yeah,
probably looking at day two, more likely day three. Now, last year,
value
obviously,
picks.
Devontae Walker was a fourth rounder, right? He has not yet panned out. You barely saw the guy last year, and
Right.
I was told in the early part of the season that he did not look NFL ready. So just keep that in mind. But Adam, here's the thing. Like, I think that they would be better served rather than taking swings at that position on day three, going back into the veteran free agent market, ponying up. Whether it's these guys, there's other players that are out there. They're not going after Diggs. Stephon Diggs getting another bite at the apple. And I don't even care if he's not going to be ready by week one because of the ACL. He's going to get paid again. It's just a matter of
Yeah,
when, not if.
right.
So I think they'd be better served. Sure, take your shot on day three if you want, but make sure that you're not banking on that player or Devontae Walker or, with all due respect to Tylan Wallace, Tylan, to ensure that they are the Nelson Aguilar replacement. I think that you continue to do what you've done. You've had success with it a little bit on the latter half of free agency, and find a way to replace Nelson Aguilar's production because you have what you need. You got the
Yeah,
deepest tight end room in the league. Pat Ricard, just right before we came on here, was signed to a guaranteed deal. He'll be
it's all
here
that.
in Baltimore in 2025, right? You've got your 1A and 1B like you referenced in Zay and Bate. You've got your pass catching tight ends like I already mentioned. You've got Lamar, and you've got the one of the most dynamic backfields in the entire league, and you barely even saw Keaton last
Yeah,
year.
we don't have
So
to do much. Like fans have
yeah.
to realize that. I know seeing all these names get signed for big money yesterday, today, it gets like it's like the little meme of Squidward seeing SpongeBob and Patrick play out, and it's fine. It's fine. Like we
Yeah.
just calm down a little bit. I like what we have right now. We should just re-sign and extend players that we already have. You know what did hurt me though?
Yeah.
Losing Chris Board a little bit. It kind of hurt. As
Well, it was
far
a
as just
surprise.
some like inside linebacking experience, until Trent's ready.
Mm.
Like I
It's a
felt like we
surprise,
could have kept
Santana.
him
I mean,
in.
I was surprised by that because you're looking at a guy that's you know well seasoned in
Hmm.
special teams reps. This is a special teams captain, somebody that logged the most special team snaps last year. So and helped out against the pass at inside linebacker when Trenton was demoted. So their plan was that rotation was like, all right,
Yeah,
Malik's going to handle like against the run, and Chris is going to be on passing downs.
yeah.
Um,
Board definitely had some good reps last year.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. But he'll go to New York. Malik will go to Pittsburgh, and the Ravens are gonna have to kind of not rebuild. You never have to rebuild a linebacker room with a with an all pro and Roquan and a
Mhm.
third year player that was was Trenton second or third round? Oh shit, I can't remember.
Yeah,
Second
I
or
can't remember.
he was a day two
Yeah,
pick. I know
I
that.
believe second,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. So but yeah, appreciate the call, man.
Yeah, no problem, man. Have a good one.
Catch up with you soon, man. Thanks for the love. And appreciate you guys. Over 1,000 of you watching right now on the unofficial day two start to free agency. Thanks to Primary Residential Mortgage for sponsoring this episode. If you guys haven't already, go check out what they're offering you. It's some good stuff. You can save $100 on your closing costs, courtesy of Primary. To claim your certificate, all you got to do, click on the link in my show notes. It's also as a pinned comment right now. It's valid for 90 days from the date of receipt, and the offer itself ends May 1st. So go help yourself out, help me out by supporting one of my brand sponsors, and obviously get started today if you're interested in doing so. On your way out, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, hit that notification bell. Tilly is back in her normal spot. Look at her. She apparently loves that spot. I think she wants camera time. I'm here in Orlando working remotely. Obviously, this is not my studio backdrop. There she is. Toto, what are you doing? She doesn't want any camera time today. But anyway, we'll be back. Plenty more coming up, including a 12 noon show tomorrow, as always, for the Vault on Wednesday. And I'll have some more content coming your way as well. So stay tuned. Appreciate you guys for dropping by. Have an awesome rest of your days. Talk soon.